In your relationship with a narcissistic person, marriage or commitment is a social and legal contract between two individuals who agree to support each other and provide emotional security. Unfortunately, in many cases, one of the partners is narcissistic, which creates challenges in dealing with their narcissistic traits and behaviors. Despite this, many spouses are strongly emotionally attached to their narcissistic partners and may not be willing to accept the idea of separation, especially if there are children involved. In such cases, the spouse may continue the relationship with the hope that the narcissistic partner will change or improve their behavior. Welcome to a new episode and a new video about narcissism. If you are interested in our topics about narcissism, don't forget to subscribe to the channel and activate the notification bell to receive our upcoming episodes. Although my way of speaking is in the form of narration to facilitate information transfer, it is essential to know that everything we discuss regarding narcissism is not specific to any gender, whether it's women or men. The narcissistic personality we talk about can be either male or female. Thank you very much for your support. If you find this content helpful, please like, subscribe, and share. Thank you for helping share this message with those who can benefit from it. Today, I will tell you about some ways that may help your narcissistic spouse change. Unfortunately, this advice may not apply to all couples, but rather to those spouses who may be open to change or feel dissatisfied with themselves and want to improve, or to those who are hesitant to talk about their partner's behavior in the first place. We've previously discussed that it's almost impossible for a narcissist to change, but what we'll talk about today is an attempt to preserve the relationship, especially when there are children involved. The first step is to be patient with their flaws. One of the essential aspects of a successful marriage is patience, where spouses endure each other's imperfections and weaknesses in their relationship and life together. You can help your narcissistic spouse change for the better by being patient with their difficult personality traits and without pressuring them to change their lifestyle or difficult behaviors. Try to show them that there is someone by their side supporting them and willing to tolerate their mistakes. This will provide them with reassurance and the confidence that you will never abandon them as long as they are willing to change or recognize that they have a problem that needs to be fixed. The second step is to avoid justifying their mistakes. Don't attempt to justify the deliberate mistakes you see in their behavior because doing so may hinder any efforts to change. Narcissists have a strong belief that there is someone who can tolerate their mistakes. You can help your narcissistic spouse change for the better, but you need to maintain continuous communication with them regarding their mistakes. Avoid blaming them and try to understand their needs. Continually ask them how you can help, and request that they refrain from repeating the mistakes they've made, as long as they are willing to change for the better. The third step is to provide care, love, and attention. It is known that narcissism can stem from poor treatment by one's parents, growing up in families with problems, or experiencing either excessive indulgence or harshness from parents. This can lead to narcissistic traits and behaviors. You can help control and change your narcissistic spouse for the better by showing genuine interest and true love, and by continually understanding their problems. Be the first person to meet their emotional needs, helping them heal from the wounds they may have from their childhood. The fourth step is to avoid passing judgment on them. You can help your spouse change for the better by drawing their attention to their mistakes without making judgments about them. Stay in constant communication regarding their negative behaviors, but try to understand their motivations behind these actions. Strive to find the right way to address and correct these behaviors, and always remind them that nobody is perfect. Avoid justifying their mistakes, but make it clear that you are trying to help them change for the better and that these mistakes should not be repeated to maintain a healthy relationship. The fifth step is to have an open, heartfelt conversation with them. Communication is the key to maintaining any relationship. Share your feelings and emotions with each other, as this will help you understand each other's emotional and psychological needs. You can help your narcissistic spouse change for the better by initiating a heartfelt dialogue in which they feel your closeness and concern for them. Avoid confrontations and misunderstandings that may arise between you by opening up this dialogue. Ensure that the conversation remains calm, without raising your voice, to avoid giving the impression that you are arguing. Instead, Focus on understanding each other and working towards a better relationship. The sixth step is to try to address all the clear signs of narcissism in your spouse. You can help your spouse change for the better by identifying the obvious signs of narcissism and attempting to correct them. Don't ignore the clear flaws in them. Approach this gently and without verbal aggression or confrontation. Make sure all your communication is motivated by your desire to maintain your home, family, and your spouse. You must be able to distinguish right from wrong in the relationship and their behavior towards you. Avoid making the narcissist feel that you are holding them accountable when pointing out specific mistakes they've made. Instead, do it in a respectful manner that doesn't provoke them, because they should understand that it's constructive criticism, not an accusation. The best way to address your spouse's flaws is through calm and non-confrontational communication. It requires a certain level of patience to create an atmosphere in which your spouse feels safe during discussions about their wrongdoings or negative behaviors. When your spouse feels safe with you, they can accept any dialogue regarding your efforts to help them change for the better. The seventh step is not to become a scapegoat for your narcissistic spouse. Narcissists are known for shifting blame and responsibility onto others, a behavior known as gaslighting. When a narcissist makes a mistake, they immediately blame someone else as a way to avoid taking responsibility for their actions. Often, you may be the target of these accusations, especially because the narcissist is very keen on maintaining a perfect image and avoiding accountability. To help your narcissistic spouse change for the better, you must not allow yourself to be a scapegoat. A scapegoat is someone who accepts blame and responsibility for another person's actions. The eighth step is to work on yourself. You must be aware and confident that you can help your narcissistic spouse change for the better if you have emotional, mental, and psychological stability. Additionally, avoid appearing hypocritical or insincere when dealing with the narcissist. Even if you have to act a certain way around them, try to make your actions genuine, because narcissists are very perceptive. If they sense that you are not being sincere, they may turn the focus on your mistakes to avoid dealing with their own. The next step is to try to convince your spouse to accept therapy or counseling. If you find it challenging to cope with the overt signs of narcissism in your spouse and you're unable to address them effectively, you can seek help from a specialist who deals with such cases. This professional can be a therapist or counselor with expertise in narcissistic behavior. Seeking therapy together can be a beneficial step toward improving your spouse's behavior and avoiding harm to yourself if you are experiencing narcissistic abuse. Narcissists are known to refuse therapy or seek psychological help because they completely reject anyone pointing out their flaws or appearing in a negative light. However, what you should do is try and not lose hope quickly if you feel that these steps could lead to positive results with your spouse. Also, as I mentioned at the beginning, if you sense that he is willing, even if it's just a little, to change, that's a good sign. The 10th step is not to easily give up on your marital relationship. Marriage, folks, is not something easy, nor is it a place you can enter and exit at will, especially when you want, without it being tied to you and your spouse. Most of the time, it's tied to the children who deserve to live in stability between their parents. You can deal with your narcissistic spouse as if he is ill, and you're trying to change him for the better. This can be done by not giving up on your marriage and your relationship with your spouse easily. Marriage is a commitment between two people to live, build their lives, succeed, and be better together. This commitment also includes overcoming the difficulties that come with married life by being together and working through them. That's why you should make every effort to maintain this relationship, the love, and the respect that has been present for years in your lives together. When things are tough or uncomfortable for you, don't turn your back on your narcissistic spouse from the very beginning. Always assume that this is an illness that requires effort and time to treat. But if at some point, you feel that your relationship with your narcissistic spouse has made you feel like you are suffering from mental illnesses like depression or constant anxiety due to narcissistic mistreatment, then separation from such a relationship is undoubtedly the best option to save yourself. When you feel that your efforts to save your marriage are nearly impossible, at least save yourself and your children from the toxicity of this relationship and leave it as soon as possible. When violence becomes the foundation of your marital life, and you find that you're expected to endure mistreatment or humiliation as your role as a wife, nobody should accept that. Anyone who tells you to continue in such a situation is unjust and harmful to you. However, whether you believe that there is a possibility for your narcissistic spouse to change is something only you can determine. It's your life, and you're the one living it. Don't let anyone tell you to stay in a harmful and degrading relationship just because you don't have another alternative. That's absolutely not fair. Continuing in such a situation ultimately means destroying your physical, psychological, emotional, and mental health. In this case, your top priority should be yourself and your well-being. In the end, there is no problem with forgiving in most situations except for narcissistic abuse, humiliation, and devaluation. I hope you found this episode beneficial, and God willing, we'll meet in the next episode with a new topic about narcissism. Thank you, and peace be upon you.